Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. Bonjour tout le monde.
Louder.
Okay, louder. Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, je vais vous parler de mon projet de grade. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. I will be speaking about my project. I will be speaking about the findings of my project, Understanding French Strike Culture. Some background to begin. So the reason I chose to research strikes and their culture in France is due to my curiosity about why France is so known for striking compared to other cultures who have similar thoughts and opinions on the matter. Striking and protests are very important to French culture, and this project is for me to just understand why and so I can share it with you. So the ways I collected my information was through an online forum, an in-person interview, and overall just listening, asking questions, and observing people in my surroundings to get a better understanding on the physical and social presence of strikes. As for who I spoke to, which was a large reason why my project needed to actually be in France, I spoke to every person I could about strikes. I spoke to the other lycéens, the high schoolers at Jean Hachette, the teachers, my host parents, their parents, and anyone that I thought would help me. And from that, I think I've gathered enough information to answer my question about strike culture. So one of my two main sources was a Google form that I created that I both gave out as une affiche, a poster, and as a link from my phone. So from this form, I got 21 responses, both from students and adults alike. So this Google form had 3 sections. The first was if they had been on strike or not. If they had, they were taken to a separate section with specific questions about their experiences. If they'd been on strike, I asked how long they were on strike, when, where, how they found out about it, if they thought it was effective, and if they would strike again. So 5 people responded that they had been on strike, and 80% of them said that they would in fact strike again, and overall, it had a positive impact on their situation. After that, every person responding was sent to the third section, which had 5 main questions. Number 1, do you know anyone who's been on strike? Number 2, do strikes affect your daily life even if you're not the one striking? 3, do you think that striking is an effective method of protest? 4, why do you think France is known for their strikes? And 5, do you think that the United States should adopt a similar or same strike culture to France? 17 people responded that they have known someone who has been on strike. Only 2 people said that they had not been affected by strikes. Most people who responded yes to that question said that they were mostly affected by strikes at schools with teachers or students striking, or by transportation strikes. 11 people said that they think striking is effective for protesting, and the people who said no believe that certain criteria needs to be met for a strike to be effective, and that they are not an instant win situation, like with the strike against raising retirement age a few years ago, which overall had no effect on the situation. For why France is known for striking, other than a few joke responses I got, most people agreed that it's because of the fact that historically it's been effective in changing the minds of leaders by making them listen to their demands. Finally, most people had no opinion if we, the United States and Oklahoma, should adopt a culture similar to French strike culture, but thought it could be a good idea if we were to think about it. After the Google form, I had an interview with one Madame Boucard-Lepro, the head of the teacher union at Lycée Jean Hachette. While she gave me deep insight to the questions I asked her, which happened to be the same ones that I asked at the end of my Google form, she gave me 3 very valuable responses to 3 of these questions. So number 1, do you think that strikes are an effective way to protest? She obviously thought they were effective, that's her whole job. But the reason why she thinks that they were effective is due to the strength of labor unions, or syndicats, as they're known in French. Without labor unions having strength, striking would have no effect whatsoever. The system is carefully balanced by the constitutional right to strike and be protected while striking. Number 2, why do you think France is known for their strikes? Her response was that because the French just strike more. Wow, no way. Since it's so important to them historically, and that strikes have been proven as an effective way to protest, they just do it more. It's a full circle reason that was much simpler than I thought it would be. And finally, number 3, do strikes affect your daily life even when you're not the one striking? She said that yes, they do, and most importantly to me, that they should. Striking is meant to disrupt the system, according to her, and that for change to occur, there needs to be pressure to return society back to its normal state. In a time where the politicians of France are wanting to make strikes affect la vie quotidienne less, it would get rid of the meaning and importance of striking in the first place. So, other than these two main sources of information, I also got good information from other sources that overall supported my beliefs, which I will soon share. There are many magazines and newspapers to share information about strikes, unions, and other information pertaining to each month, like the CGT, Service Public, is very useful. And then another reason why I wanted to go to France is because they love their ads and posters. They're so beautiful. They're very interesting. And they often post posters for their strikes. However, I found a grand total of 0 posters in my 1 day in Amiens, 2 days in Paris, and almost 2 full weeks in Beauvais. I had to attribute this and the lack of striking when I was there due to the fact that the elections for the mayors of each city were going on. People tend to focus on different things when it gets close to election season, so it makes sense that there weren't a lot of strikes going on, sadly for me. So I have to say that this is my greatest pitfall, since no one was actually actively striking when I was there, even though I found out later on that the Louvre was striking the week before we got there. Yay. I had no up-to-date information as posters, interviews, footage, etc. that I could use for my argument. However, this has little importance to me in the long run. So finally, my conclusions from this project. Why did French strike? I think that they strike because it's so important to their history and culture as a society. No one asked why we Americans love to vote, because it's an integral part of American culture and history. In this manner, I think striking has a similar importance to France. The French strike because they can and they want to. Simple and effective. Why is striking so well known when it comes to France? For this, I agree with Madame Boucard-Lepreux. They are so well known for their strikes because they strike so often. Since it's so important to them, they exercise their right to strike often, although not when I was there. This also makes sense when taking my first conclusion into consideration. Should we adopt the same mentality in the US? Personally, I don't think we should adopt the same. I do think we should take ideas from their actions, as striking is a very effective way to protest and make change. But our laws are different enough that unless there were to be changes to our Constitution that would protect our right to strike, the US just cannot adopt the same mentality. Finally, do I finally understand French strike culture? I think I do. The reason that they strike is because they can. It's important to their culture and history, and it is one of the things that makes France unique as a country. So I can finally say that I understand, at least an aspect, of French strike culture, and I hope now you do too. I want to give a huge thank you to everybody who's helped me and supported me throughout this process. Mr. Pardue, thank you so much for introducing me to this. I can't find you. Where are you? Thank you so much for introducing me to this project and helping me create this whole thing in the first place. To our teachers, Madame Whittington, Madame Shepard, Madame Whitney, thank you so much for watching over us and keeping us safe when we were in France. To my fellow fellows, thank you for making this such a fun experience. I don't think I could forget this. To the Olomouc, which was my host family, thank you for hosting me and making me feel at home even when I wasn't there. To my parents, thank you for responding to all of my texts. I love you. And finally, thank you so much, Alliance Française d'Oklahoma. You've given me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I couldn't be more thankful. Merci beaucoup pour tout. Thank you so much for your time.